Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to 2A News Now. And I hope everybody's doing well. And I appreciate everybody taking time watching my videos. The picture I'm going to put up on the screen is the New Orleans Police Superintendent. Her name is Kirkpatrick, and she's been the superintendent for a year. And the superintendent believes that every city in the state should believe in the Second Amendment, except in her city. First, let me give you some background on Kirkpatrick. She started her law enforcement career in the Memphis Police Department. And then she was a police officer in the city of Redmond in the state of Washington. And then she became a college instructor in criminal justice. And after that, she was chief of police in 3 different cities in the state of Washington. The cities were Ellensburg, Federal Way, and Spokane. And she was the police chief of each one of those cities for 5 years. She retired in 2012, and she became a leadership instructor for the FBI. Also, for 2 years, she was the chief deputy of the King County Sheriff's Office. And in 2016, she was up for a big job. She was one of 3 finalists for the superintendent of the Chicago Police Department. But the mayor of that time didn't choose her as the superintendent, but he did appoint her as the chief of the department's Bureau of Professional Standards. And after 6 months in Chicago, in January of 2017, the mayor of Oakland appointed her the first female police chief. But in early November of 2017, something happened. The chair of Oakland's Privacy Advisory Commission and 7 others filed a complaint with Oakland Citizens Police Review Board, claiming that Police Chief Kirkpatrick had made false statements about an August raid in Oakland. In February of 2020, the Oakland Police Commission voted unanimously to fire Police Chief Kirkpatrick. And she was fired without cause, saying the commission's trust in Kirkpatrick was irrevocably broken. After that, Kirkpatrick filed a federal lawsuit, and she accused the city of firing her as retaliation for reports she made against the behavior of some of the commissioners. And in May of 2022, a jury ruled partially in Kirkpatrick's favor, and they awarded her 1 year's back pay, which was $337,000. And in July of 2022, the city of Oakland agreed to pay that amount and legal costs, which came to a total of $1.5 million. And then in November of 2023, Kirkpatrick was appointed interim superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department. She was then confirmed by the city council. And in November of 2023, she was sworn in as superintendent. And in August of this year, something else happened. The superintendent struck 2 pedestrians with her vehicle while on duty. Thank goodness no one was severely injured. So as you can see, Kirkpatrick has had a long law enforcement career and has had a couple of hiccups along the way. But now the biggest hiccup that she's having as the New Orleans police superintendent, she doesn't like Louisiana being an open carry state, at least in her own city. And now she's had what some may call a war of words with Louisiana's Attorney General. And after 13 people were shot at a small parade, she just couldn't help herself and talked to a local news agency. And she said there were thousands of people attending that small parade. And she said some of her police officers saw numerous people open carrying firearms, which is lawful to do in Louisiana. And that's what she didn't like. And the law in Louisiana doesn't allow for law enforcement to ask anyone if they have permits. And her next statement just goes to show you how much of a hypocrite she is. She said, "I understand constitutional carry and why it would be okay in some parts of Louisiana, but you can't say that is true for New Orleans." She said she's a person who appreciates constitutional carry, but not in every location. She said New Orleans is unique. We have no business with guns at a parade or in our entertainment areas at all. Evidently, she doesn't understand constitutional carry. She thinks it's just fine for every city in the state, except for hers. What a freaking hypocrite. And the Louisiana Attorney General, Liz Murrill, didn't take too kindly of what the superintendent said. So the Attorney General said that Kirkpatrick was doing what a lot of anti-gun officials do. She blames the gun itself and not the criminals that actually commit the crimes with a firearm. The Attorney General said, "Since when does violent criminals that shoot multiple people follow our laws? I wouldn't classify them as reasonable gun owners." She said, "Let's talk about the New Orleans Police Department consent decree. $150 million has been spent so far. And kids are shooting each other because police aren't allowed to enforce the laws. And gun-carrying criminals aren't facing consequences. Now is the time to focus on capturing criminals responsible for this lawlessness, not place blame on a state law that received overwhelming support by the people's representatives in the legislature. I don't know about you, but I like the Louisiana Attorney General. Could you just imagine if the law for open carry in Louisiana allowed police officers to ask people who are open carrying for a permit? That would be absolutely ridiculous. It'd be like you're in Nazi Germany asking for your papers. And it's a good thing Louisiana has a preemption law, so the city won't be able to regulate anything that's more restrictive than the state laws. And of course, in the past, that hasn't stopped other cities in other states trying to pass laws that are actually against the state laws. And once they try to do this, most of the time, once the attorney generals just mention that they're going to sue that city, they drop the lawsuit. Or if the lawsuit does go through, those cities lose. So the reason I wanted to give you the complete background of Ann Kirkpatrick, it shows she's been in law enforcement for a really long time. And like I mentioned, she's had a couple of hiccups along the way. I think it's time for Kirkpatrick to hang up her hat and completely retire from law enforcement. But unfortunately, most likely, they'll leave her in place until something else happens where she'll be fired from that job as well. As always, I would like to hear your thoughts about today's video in the comment section. And if you enjoy videos like this, and you also want to help the channel out and help it to continue to grow, I just ask you to just take a few seconds of your time to like, share, and subscribe, and hit those post notifications. And please don't forget to leave a comment. I really would appreciate it. And I invite all of you to come back and watch my next video.